and welcome back to another video. If you know and have been following me on Instagram and TikTok, you'll know that I've been in Thailand for the last like 2.5 weeks. I'm home now and I'm home until camp, which is crazy to think. I fly to camp in just over 3 weeks, which I haven't actually processed yet. I think because I've just been away, I can't comprehend that I'm home, let alone going to camp so soon. But I've had so many people reach out and ask me to film a few videos before going, because I know people are literally going to camp now. Like, I know mid to end of May is a busy time. I know a lot of people go into June, but a lot of people are going to camp. So I wanted to get some videos filmed just because I know a lot of people are wanting some advice on things and answer some questions. So probably my most asked question recently has been about traveling alone, going to the airport, what it's like going through immigration, kind of like what documents you need to take with you. So I'm here to give you some advice and just kind of like my experience on traveling alone, going to America, getting through the border and all of that good stuff. So one thing I want to say is that your agency should send you like a pre-departure checklist. It will give you so much information. You'll probably have to do like an orientation as well that will cover a lot of this. So if you haven't done that yet, don't worry, it will be coming. And if you haven't received something yet and you think you should have, just reach out to your agency and say, do you have some sort of pre-departure checklist, just something to go over, just so you can kind of see something on paper. I'm a very visual person. I like having a list and seeing what I need to take to the airport with me. Okay, but first of all, I'm just going to talk about traveling alone, and something that a lot of you will be doing probably for the first time, and some people might be going to America for the first time. And it's a big thing and it can be a little bit scary, but it's also super exciting. And one thing to always remind yourself is that, yes, it might seem intimidating. The airport can seem like a scary place, but the staff and people there are so helpful. If you need anything, like, you can just ask someone. I'd also really recommend trying to reach out to people going to your camp, or just people going to camp in general, and seeing if anyone's flying or going to the airport on the same day. When I went to camp last year, me and Summer flew together, and I put in my Facebook group that we were at the airport if anyone was about and maybe was going by themselves or going on the same flight. And we met up with 2 or 3 girls, I think it was. One of them was going on our flight, 2 of them were on our flight, and then one other girl was just at the airport. And it was just nice to sit and have a conversation and kind of just like talk about camp, and it takes the stress and nerves away from traveling by yourself. And even if you can't find someone that is traveling on the same day or going on the same flight as you, just have someone to talk to, whether it's someone that's going to your camp. Me, feel free to message me if you're at the airport and you're a bit like, oh my God, what is going on? Because I get it and I know how intimidating it can be. But one thing I always say, the day that you get on a flight by yourself is genuinely the day that you feel like you could do anything. Getting on a plane by yourself, going to the airport on your own, after that, you genuinely feel like you can conquer the world. And I've gone on to travel solo to so many places, and I don't think I'd have had the confidence to do that if I hadn't done that first trip to camp by myself. So yeah, something to bear in mind. It is scary, but it's also a really like exciting, rewarding thing as well when you do it and get through to the other side. Another tip for traveling alone, which is one of my biggest tips, is just to take things to do. Make sure you've got maybe like headphones, a book, snacks, different things. Keep yourself occupied, even just like whilst you're at the airport before you've even boarded the flight. I think one thing that makes it seem so much scarier is when you get in your own head and you just kind of, you've got too much time to think. So take things to keep you occupied. Just stay in touch with people back home, like whilst you're at the airport, once you've been dropped off or once you've got there, just stay chatting to people, text home, phone home, and yeah, it'll really help take your mind off the whole thing. Okay, before you've even got to the airport, obviously you want to make sure you've got all of your documents. This is obviously so important, and again, something that your agency should send out in like a pre-departure checklist, and it makes it nice. You can just tick everything off as you pack it into your bag, so you know you've got everything. Obviously, your most important thing is your passport. Don't forget your passport, but equally as important as that is your DS 2019, which is obviously your form that has been signed by an officer in the US. So make sure you have those 2 things. Those are the 2 things you have to physically show at the border when you get there, and they obviously have to link up to your visa and stuff, so the 2 go hand in hand. If you're anything like me and stress a little bit about documents and different things, take all of your camp documents with you. I have never been asked for anything other than my DS 2019 and my passport, but I know some people that have maybe been asked for, I don't know, like a service receipt or a camp contract just to show that you've got it. I think maybe like one person I know that has been asked to do that. I have never, in the 4 going on 5 years that I've done this whole process. But for peace of mind, just take everything you have anyway, whether that's a police check, whether it's literally just like application forms, it could be anything. It doesn't take a lot of room to have all your pieces of paper in a little folder, and it will just make you feel so much better about the whole process, because I always say it's better to need it and not have it than to have it and no. Is that right? Yeah, that was right. It's better to need it. No, it's better to have it and not need it and to need it and not have it. Yeah, that I was doing it wrong the first way. But yeah, take it all with you. Like, you'll feel so much better having it. But like I said, the only things I've ever been asked for is my DS 2019 and my passport. So yeah. Another thing a lot of people have asked as well is just kind of like the actual customs process, what it's like, showing your visa and your DS 2019, kind of what questions you're asked. And again, this is going to be so different dependent on you as a person, the person you actually go up to and give your passport to, the airport you're flying into, the state, everything will be so different person to person. But for me, I've had a really, really pleasant experience going through the border every single time. The guy I had last year was actually so lovely. Like I say, me and Summer travelled together, and I went up to this guy, gave him my documents, and he was like flicking through my passport, and obviously I have a fair few visas in my passport, and he was like, oh my God, you've done this a long time, like I can't find your visa. Like, he was just proper like fun and jokey. And then he was just asking me about camp. He said, oh, how many summers have you been? Like, do you love it? Why do you go back? Just like normal conversation. It wasn't anything, it didn't feel like I was being questioned or interviewed. It was just a genuine conversation about camp. But be prepared that they might ask you some questions. They might ask where your camp is, what your job role is, what your plans are after camp. I don't think I know anyone that's been asked to show proof of return, say if you like book a one-way flight, but I always personally recommend everyone to book a return flight anyway. That's going to come in a different video. I'm doing like another Q&A, and a lot of people have asked that question, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I personally have had a really smooth experience, and everyone I know that has gone to the airport, taking all their documents with them, has had it fine as well. There's actually someone from my camp that's forgot his DS 2019. I think he said twice, like both his summers. And I don't know how he's managed it, but please don't do that, because it's a very important document and it becomes a bit of a faff. I mean, I think he was lucky that he was let into the country, to be honest, but he sorted it and he was able to get his DS 2019 mailed out and then had to ship it somewhere. It was all a big faff. So yeah, make sure you remember those documents and just reach out to your agency. They're there to help you if you need anything. If you're worried about the airport process, you're not sure what to take, just reach out. They're there to help, and they will have so much information they can give you about the whole process. Okay, and another thing I've been asked a lot about is kind of, you've got through the airport, you've got through border control, you've picked up your case, what now? A lot of people have asked what happens when you land, when you get through the airport, and this is going to be completely dependent on your camp. I have done two different things with my camp. My first 2 summers, we had to get a bus from Port Authority in New York to a little town just outside of camp, and they picked us up from there. Now my camp pick us up from the airport. It actually just made way more sense to pick everyone up direct instead of people coming in at different times. So definitely something to reach out and ask your camp about if you don't yet know kind of what happens when you get to the airport. And they should be able to send you like a really detailed kind of way of getting there if they're not picking you up. I remember my camp sent me this whole thing about how to get to Port Authority from the airport, what short line bus I needed to get, how long I'd be on it, where they'd be waiting, and yeah, they made it so smooth, but definitely something to ask if you're not sure. But yeah, I feel like that's everything travel wise. I feel like this was a really quick video, but to sum it all up, traveling alone can seem scary. I completely understand, but there are things you can do to make the whole process seem a little bit easier. Like I said, reach out to people that are going to your camp or just camp in general. Use my Facebook group. I'll put a little screenshot here. I remember last year a load of people would be like, oh, I'm flying on this date at this time. Is anyone else on my flight? And chances are there was someone else going on that flight or going to be on one 10 minutes before or an hour after. So definitely use that and just pop something in there if you're worried about going by yourself, and hopefully find someone that's going on the same flight as you. And yeah, just reach out to your agency, ask for some sort of checklist if you want one. But yeah, passport and DS 2019 are going to be your best friends going through the airport, so don't forget them. But thank you for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe, because there's going to be so many more camp videos coming, especially when I get to camp. I think I've mentioned I go to camp early this year, so my plan is to get loads of videos filmed, just enjoy being at camp before all the craziness of orientation starts. But yeah, please leave anything down below if you have any questions, if you're not sure on something, and get yourselves ready, guys, because camp is literally fast approaching and I cannot believe how fast it's coming around. But yeah, that's all from me in this video. I'm literally about to film like 3 more videos after this one, hopefully to try and get them up as quick as possible. But thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.